So the 49ers are moving on from Deebo Samuel, and they're getting nearly a fifth round pick when they sought a fourth rounder. But that's the only thing that would have made this deal realistically better because I think getting off of Deebo Samuel's contract is a massive win, especially because he's probably just going to only further decline as time goes on. And I mean, in a rapid fashion, more than likely, as he is just continually dropping off in yards after catch, with him being 16th in that stat this year, ninth last year, eighth the year before that, and then first the year before that. That coincides with the fact that his playstyle is basically that of a running back's. It's not to say that he's devoid of receiver skill, but he is much more talented as a run after catch guy than he is at, setting up a move for separation. So Deebo plays a game that is not sustainable. At least throughout history, it hasn't been, because any running back that ages into that like 30-year-old range just starts to really kind of drop off. And maybe Deebo, lasts a bit longer because he hasn't taken as many hits as a true running back, but he's definitely taken a lot more than the average receiver has. And just this year, Deebo was 68th in yards per out run for wide receivers and tight ends. That's, very low end number two or wide receiver three option type of numbers. And additionally, he was 60th in yards per game, which is kind of atrocious given he was only really behind Jawan Jennings, who had his breakout year this year, and George Kittle. So Samuel should have been racking up yards because Purdy can deliver the ball. I'm not going to act like he's this super elite quarterback, but if you're open, Purdy's going to find you. So his numbers are not impressive this year, and they really haven't been all that great since his amazing 2021 year. And I think, at 29, making 16 million, this is a good play to trade him while you can still get something for him and not have to pay him. They do have a $31 million dead cap hit for, I believe, just this season. Maybe it's spread out through this season and the upcoming season. I'm a little bit confused on that because of the timing of the trade, but they get 16 million in long-term savings, which is really good if you're, trying to pay Purdy. And what really stands out to me too is that Samuel is not the most sought after receiver by any stretch, I would say, in the open market, because if the 49ers don't trust Pearsall and want to get a cheaper option than Deebo, Joshua Palmer makes a lot of sense. He is, I would say, a pretty similar caliber receiver to Samuel. Palmer is 77th in yards per out run and 78th in yards per game. He's only projected to make $6.5 million and is 4 years younger than Deebo, so he'd be making less than half what Deebo does and is younger by a fair amount. Marquise Brown is also an option. He is 91st in yards per out run, 67th in yards per game, and is projected to make $9 million. He's 28, So he's a little bit younger than Deebo as well. And if San Francisco gets really nutty and trades Ayuk as well, which I am rather certain they won't, but if they did, Chris Godwin could be brought in because he's better than Deebo, arguably worse than Ayuk, but 40th in yards per out run, 30th in yards per game, and projected to make 20 million at 29 years old. He also has a game that's much, much more sustainable than Samuel does. All of these free agents do. So, if they don't trust Pearsall, like I said, then they can sign one of these guys and get similar production for much less. Or in the case of Godwin, just get a much better player for basically the same amount of money. I think Palmer they could bring in, even if, they keep the wide receivers that they have. And with Palmer, he definitely is a bit better than his numbers suggest because it was such a run heavy offense in Los Angeles with the Chargers where, you're just not getting as many reps as other players are. But even still, his numbers are pretty similar to Deebo's. And I think, being 4 years younger, that would be very intriguing. Especially too, like I said, $6.5 million for a wide receiver is like nothing. It's, I wouldn't turn down that money, but I think the the market for wide receivers is just so rich right now that that's not too much of anything. The last thing I want to touch on is that there are definitely some, deficiencies in their roster. Guard, defensive tackle, edge rusher, linebacker, cornerback, and safety. Those all need addressed. And then there's some depth as well that could be filled out for the team. So I'm not saying, get a new player at all of those positions because just at that point you're not getting too quality of players with the money that you have available. But overall, being able to address those or, just make sure that you're getting your quarterback and Purdy paid moving forward, I think this is a great deal for the 49ers. Those are my thoughts on the move. Be sure to let me know what yours are in the comments section. And also be sure to like and subscribe for more football content.